here at my station. I saved a little teeny bit of the personal introduction part for this because I could talk to you guys a little more personally. So I'm from Oregon. I live right now just outside of Portland, which is the home of the Beaver State Fling, if you guys are watching the national tour. So that's my home, and I've been an Oregonian, born and raised, spent a little time in Alaska, 2 years specifically, from 2009 to 2011. And that was right before I moved back to Oregon and started playing professional golf. And I bring that up to you because my time in Alaska not only was the time period I became a club member, a statewide representative for disc golf, but I started actually working harder on courses, volunteering my time, and kind of became more of the backbone roots side of disc golf. And it really has, what I'm going to talk to you about with Upshots and mental game is it's like the whole backbone and root system to continue through your game every day, I think. And so I wanted to let you know that, so I was playing AM in Oregon. I really learned a lot, worked on courses, developed teaching techniques, and then put my dream board into my goal board, moved back down, and then I started touring. It was so funny in 2012. I said, I'm going on tour. Well, what's that mean? Question mark, question mark, question mark. I had no idea. And then I didn't even feed myself that well or take care of myself that well the first year on tour. You really have a lot to learn when you want to try to travel and play a sport this hard. But now I'm here today. I'm in front of you guys. This is ultimately what it's all about for me. My actual career, I tell everyone, is teaching disc golf. And then the hobby and the habit and the exciting part is performing and playing during my tour season. But on tour, I get to help start leagues. I get to speak motivationally using disc golf. I get to teach clinics, and I get to work with people on the side, and that's ultimately what it's all about. Because disc golf created the real life. It is my life, and it is for so many reasons. I have real family now through disc golf, whether it's local in Oregon or around the country, or even people I haven't even met in other countries that have told me they would house me. I have a family in disc golf. I have fun. I have a way to be athletic and excited. I have a way to share, a way to give. And again, I have a way to make money, but to me that's teaching. It's not necessarily a competition. And I wanted to share that with you guys because disc golf is literally, that's the guy I'm married to. So I'm 100% in love. And you should feel free to ask me anything outside of the quick lesson I'm gonna give, because I wanna open up questions about driving and putting as well, knowing that you guys are gonna go over to two of the stronger MPO players or MGP players, because Johnny's playing some Masters. I'm not sure what the abbreviation is. MPM. But I want to also give you guys a chance to ask me about putting and driving as well, because I do have to maneuver my body so much differently than they do to get the same results. But I can score just as well as they can on a lot of really cool holes, whether it's par 3, 4, or 5. And someday I believe the PDGA will have different tee pads or even different distances of certain baskets versus where the MPOs are at when we are at the highest level of competition. I don't think that applies for C tiers, X C tiers, B tiers, and things like that. But I think when we're an Olympic sport, because we will be, right? And when we're at the biggest shining light of ESPN and we're on TV, I hope that we're like the LPGA, so that the women can throw 1,100 rated rounds. We are just as good as Paul McBeth in a shorter distance form, or I should say Ricky Wysocki right now. Well, excuse me. We're just as good as Rick. Big Rick, but women don't throw as far as men, but we can certainly do the things that they can do on the course. So, men, you guys can learn from us too. And with all that being said, I want everyone to just get a putter in their hand. If you don't have a disc, that's okay. Maybe a partner could share, or I could share. So, I just want everybody to have a putter in their hand, is really all I want. Or a disc. A putter or mid. I could say a mid as well. Yeah. That there. Okay. So the reason I wanted you to have a putter in your hand is because it's easier for me to understand when I visually and I physically can be a part of the lesson. And so touching the disc and knowing knowing what I'm talking about and you visualizing it for yourself is going to be important, because my upshots, my strengths are going to be different than yours. So backhand throwers, dominant, raise your hand. Hands down. Sidearm throwers, dominant. Sweet. Now, for upshots, do you still throw a lot more sidearms, or do you find yourself being versatile? Good news, good news. Okay, that's great, because no matter what, I would say upshots, that's when you actually have to have the biggest scale of sidearm, backhand, Scooby, overhand, all of the above. But you always want to try to hit your most dominant shot. So we'll talk backhand mostly, and then I'll get into the trick shots with the sidearms. So my water bottle, this is a tee box right here, kind of created by two really cool discs of mine. And my water bottle is actually, I'm going to let you guess. Who's going to guess how far that purple water bottle is?
25 yards.
Okay, so he said 25 yards, and he's close. It's at 50 feet, and that would be what, 25? 75. So you're just about 25 off. So in feet, that's 50. And I'll talk in yards too. It just takes me a second. Okay. I will though. I got to practice for that. I want to be in Europe next year. Anyway, now let's guess how far the orange is. 100 feet. Good deal. Would you have, look at the orange one only right now, and would you have guessed that, just don't answer, say it to yourself yes or no, at 100 feet? I can't say some days that I would. And I can't say at some elevations that I would. So you know what? I'm a master at pretty much pacing off 10 paces, which is my 30-foot circle. And I'm a master at knowing about where 50 and 100 feet are. And when I'm in like really high elevations, I'll take a few minutes and throw a couple of shots that I've paced out to my markers. Same thing at sea level. Why? It's just like the way, even humidity, I feel like sometimes makes things look a different distance. Another thing too is, once you have yourself trained on 50 and 100 feet, you can gauge literally where you want to, what disc you want to throw. So if the hole is down, it's a par 4 all the way down at that tree sticking out at the end of this fairway over to the left in the shul, you're gonna want to know if you shank your first drive, or if you don't throw as far, maybe you shank your second drive. You're gonna want to know if that tree is 200 feet or 400 feet away, because that's a big difference. But it's really hard to tell on those longer holes. So my biggest recommendation is putting out two targets, knowing 100 feet and knowing 50 feet. I take it a step further and I do 150 as well. That's because I also compete for the skill shot competition at Worlds every year, and it's all about 50, 100. And 150 and pulling off every shot. I just shared that information with you because that's what we're basing the most skilled shotted players in the world on, are those three distances and executing like all these crazy shots. So now that I've shared that with you, it kind of gives me goosebumps. You have so much homework to do, right? So next thing is, and I'm going to face you even though we're thinking about me doing this. I'm throwing that direction, right? Okay. When we are, actually I'm going to pretend like that's my target that way. When I'm throwing 50 feet away, I know that I don't need a very long line. This right here is my line. Start, end, start, end, start, end. And I don't need all of this to throw 50 feet. Probably only need this. And I definitely want to keep my eyes, my head, on my target at 50 feet. There's a distance that we'll get to that I'm going to recommend you don't keep your eyes on it. We'll get there. So at 50 feet, I don't need like all of a line that I drive every day. I only need half. And I need my eyes on my target. So what does that mean? My upshots come to about my chest as I throw at it. And my eyes never leave my target because my body already has this motion. Now, that's just my basic easy shot. Let's say that this is where my disc landed and I have trees in my way. I'm a huge fan of your back foot being behind your lie, stepping out like yoga, and doing windshield wipers. But again, we're not looking away and reaching all the way back and pulling forward because it's only 50 feet away. Okay, we're probably only going from here to here, maybe some of us from here to here with a little more body. And you know, some of us might be a little weaker. We could reach a little further back. I always want to recommend not folding too much across your body. coming to a place where you can keep a straight line. And folding means like folding across to reach, where we want our shoulders to do the reaching and our shoulders to pull us through. This is injury causing. This is not. This is body working together. And that is a really starting point, ending point. That's a long line. What does that mean? More speed. So now 100 feet away, I personally still would recommend everyone keep your eye on your target and lengthen your line. Now you have a lot of homework because we're only at 50 and 100 feet, and you got to know if you can keep your head on the target and if you can actually lengthen your line safely. Or if you need to, look away. Look, you might not have heard my voice there. Look away and follow through. Because it's the same exact thing. We're letting go of the disc at the same time. We just might need a little more length to our line, because that's more speed when you're pulling it through your body. And then when we get to about 150 and 200 feet, most likely we're going to look away. Some of these guys, like Johnny, who throws so hard, they still don't have to. But most cases, about 150 and 200 feet, look away and just remember that you've got all those 50-foot practice shots. So you can now trust your body. You don't have to look at your target. You can just trust this muscle memory, this beautiful muscle memory. You do it with your eyes closed, okay? And more velocity in your body, more strength, energy, speed, all of the above is going to come out, so the disc will fly farther if you follow through. At 50 feet, try not doing too much follow through. It's like playing catch. Bloop. You know, I even make that noise. Bloop. So 50 feet, follow through. When I say follow through, I'm letting, so this is my body, you know, this is the left half, right half. I'm going to let my left half join as soon as I need more speed. I need my left half to follow through. So I usually probably take my head away and then bring my leg around. So I'm still only throwing 180 degrees, but I'm letting this part of my body finish through. So we just went from having a line this long to this long to this long to this long with our head to from here. With all the speed coming out, the line didn't go further, but I have more velocity in my body coming out of my hand with the follow through. So I just basically told you guys everything from 20 or 50 feet all the way up to about 200. And that's a sliding scale because all of our bodies are different. I hope you guys got some good info there, because I'm going to move on. That's your basic backhand upshot. Let's fillet, let's get it down, master. The field is open, no wind, everything's perfect, and you believe in your shot. Next recommendation, do every one of those with a putter. Do it with a stable putter, do it with a flippy putter, do it with a putter. And then when you're getting up to those 150s and 200s, it's probably okay to throw like a lower speed driver or a mid-range. That's fine. Mid-range is for sure. But again, like I said during the clinic, and I hope everybody retained, it's smarter for all of us to disc down in speed to throw a harder shot on our line instead of like finessing a higher speed disc, okay? Higher speed being a driver or a distance driver. And then now I wanna also say that I would not be as far as I am in disc golf if I didn't have this really dependable little 200-foot sidearm. And I pretty much could grab every disc in my bag right now that's a driver that feels comfortable and stand still and throw a sidearm at about 200 to 220. Every one of them would land in there because I'm ripping it as hard as I can. Same amount of rip on it. It's going 200 feet, 250 at the most. And then I also scale that down, and I try to figure out how to throw slower speed discs at 50 and 100. And something I want to challenge you all to again is throwing a putter sidearm. Even for sidearm dominant throwers, it's probably not that comfortable. But if you look at my grip right now, you're kind of flat and balancing it on that trigger finger, flat and balance, and then you're applying the spin speed with that middle finger. So we are all checked up. We got a balance point, and then we have a pusher of the spin. And then let's just put it into action. Once again, your line can be this long, this long, this long, or this long. I mean, oh my God, we just got like 6 more feet on that. Pushing a simple putter rim as flat and straight, or headwind, so I think about it, as flat and straight as hard as we can. Okay, and headwind is going to make me not quite as accurate right now in my words, but if you can imagine that disc is perfectly straight, what we're doing is we're throwing a 0-speed disc, something that's not going to tilt right or left off the line. It's a putter or a mid-range, probably. The same every time, and then lengthening the line, okay? Now, anything outside of that, we're talking about different shot shapes and trick shots. Nothing should ever deviate from that perfect flat sidearm or that perfect flat backhand until you're in trouble. So then you need to throw super dumpy hyzers, which in that case for a backhand, a hyzer is done with a deck like this for me. I went from flat and straight and perfect, spilling all the food off of my plate, and then having a lower starting point and a higher ending point. Hyzer throwing, I throw hyzer upshots all the time to get around trees or whatever. Okay, and then for anti-hyzers, let me face you, from my perfect flat deck, I spill the food towards my body, lower my starting point and heighten my ending point for the most part. Sometimes I keep it high to high, but those all there are still throwing a 180-degree shot that we've done a million reps for, right? This. Now we are just changing our deck angles. We're not having a disc do the work for us. There are discs that do the work for us, like I'd throw a gator for a major hyzer or a spider over a flat straight meteor. Don't let me forget that's out there. But I should be doing the work. Does anybody, I don't know where we're at in the country as far as skiing or snowboarding. Go ahead and raise your hand. Ski, snowboard, water ski or waterboarding. I'll make another analogy in a second, but you're the one in control of where your skis or your snowboard goes. You're in control of the brakes and the go power and the ollieing off water or land. We are the ones completely in control of the spin speed and the release angle and the wrist. Well, this is right here too. If everybody could just point to me with their thumbnail to the sky, but point at my body. This is one of my favorite positions to be in because it's like I'm like a 90 with my body, and I see this perfect flat deck right here. And most people have you can go ahead and relax now, but most people have, this is natural, and this is just so trained to me to have this flat deck right here and right here. Same thing with sidearm. It's a flat deck where it's always thumb to the sky, period, no matter who you are. It's just the basics of if the disc is flying out of your hand and all of that right there is in line, not going to be too much error. It's just now going to be in like how we're manipulating the speed of our body and the angle that we're tilted at. That was a lot right there all in one, man. I thought I was just going to talk about upshots. But I mean, I think I can tell you safely to grow your game from knowing where 50 and 100 feet are, practicing those lengths on the lines for a little sidearm or a little upshot, and then playing around with the slower speed discs. Because it's just so much better to rip on a disc than it is to try to fluff it. You ever say, oh, I just fluffed that once to try to get it there? You know, stay away from fluffing. It's just like wadding, it's embarrassing. Wouldn't want to do that, so. Let's see. Upshots. Oh, this is huge. How many people have had to ever lay up and either chose not to or poorly executed a layup? Okay, I'll give you the keys to success here. Ready for this? Ha. Layups have to be done with intention. That's not the total secret yet, but that's the starting of the secret. What was your intention when you were laying up to that basket, Zoe? I wanted to land safely under it. Well, then why were you 6, 7, or 8 feet in the air? Why weren't you low to the ground, keeping near the base of the basket? Okay, that's fair. So layups, whether it's a 30-footer to the base of a basket or a 100-footer so that you don't go into OB deep. Let's plan to be lower to the ground and not have a skip factor or a wind factor that can mess with our layups because we want to be short. What does a layup mean? you're not in and you're not going past. You're laying up short. So you probably want to pick a point. If the basket is my water bottle, here's my layup point. I don't miss putts from here. Your layup point could be right here, and if you're Johnny McRae or Dustin Keegan, your layup point might be right here. But I will tell you something. I won't let my line be strong enough to go 5 feet even past the basket. It might be safe there. That's not a good layup because that wasn't what the plan was, and I had a plan for safety to get that birdie or get that far. So laying up has to be low with intention and with the right amount of speed. And where did we get that speed? From the length of our line. Again, practice those distances. Layups are important, you guys. I've seen world titles won on layups 2 weeks ago. Pretty sweet. I'm not very good at layups either. It's something I'm working on. So I'll just share that. I'm always working on it. It's like I'm doing half bids all the time. And then I get my partner in my ear going, what were you thinking about right there? And it's like, well, I'm going to be honest with you. I could lie and say I was trying to lay up, but I wanted to make it too. Well, that puts you in danger. So we got to play smarter, not harder. And then other things about the short game are, ooh, this is a really good one. Know your jump putting range? First of all, is there anybody that doesn't use a jump putt? Raise your hand. I'm into it. You guys stand still and just kind of throw it at the basket. That's what I spent 8 out of 11 years doing. I'm into it. Continue with it. There's nothing wrong with that. For the days that you do decide to jump putt, and for all the rest of you, the jump putt, I'm picturing some of you probably jump putt straddle. I'm picturing some of you might do the something I can't imitate Felberg thing. And then I'm picturing some of you maybe even like do a baseball step into it like Paige Pierce, okay? Whatever it is, it's a jump putt. And let me tell you something about a jump putt. You have your standing on the ground putting range that you know your max distance of. I like to go with 34 to 35 feet just because then I'm always safe and I never have to question a falling putt. And then I have to find a way to produce power. So I do a jump putt till about 100 feet. Sometimes it's only into about 80. And then I do my standstill throwing putt like you guys did to raise your hands. With a jump putt, those of you that do it, if there's a moment in your head before you throw, and I guarantee you felt this before, I'm not sure that's in my distance. Keep your feet on the ground, shorten your line, and throw it. Jump putts are a little out of control for hero shots. And we can all go for hero, but we can also run right down to below zero when we put it up in the air. What happens if you want to throw something harder a lot of the times, whether you're driving or you're putting, we get it way too far in the air and there's just way too much room for problems. And the common theme here, from upshots to driving to putting to layups, is we don't want to be very high in the air, okay? We always want to be at head level, or athletically shoulder level, or knee level, even if you're trying to do a really little layup. But we don't ever want to expose the flight plate of the disc to too much wind after it's left our hand. We're probably going to keep it at about the height we are, or about the height of our chest, for everything we do. There's going to be times I throw higher in the air, but that's with a specific special force over shot that I'm trying to get an extra helix out of. That's in the special tool bag, not the let's get a million reps tool bag, okay? So, I think I said a lot about upshots there. I tried to add in a little bit about training and mental game. Mental game it's the same across the board without saying it, but now I'm going to tell you, it's just, you have to have a plan, you have to practice it, and you have to execute it. And if like, well, what happens if I'm not executing it? Well, you have to at the next shot. I can't tell you how many strokes at Worlds. I just get the chills that I left there, but if I sit there and think about it, I can think about it after the round for a little time. I need to reflect on what happened wrong. But you cannot do it right after it happened, you guys. Execute means you're only doing one thing at a time. You have a plan, you trust your body, you do it. Then you move on to the next thing. It's as simple as setting your alarm, waking yourself up however you do, showering, and eating breakfast. Okay, those are all individual actions, So is disc golf. Individual throws. I'd say you're on 18 tournaments out there for an 18-hole course. Every tournament, you have at least a drive, at least a mid, and at least a putt. Maybe we'll get one less in there, a couple more in there if we're not lucky. But all of those are separate actions. It has to only be what it is, and that's mental right there. You have to stop yourself and only focus on. I mean, even if you just boomed a shot and you're like, I'm 100 feet in front of everyone and I'm celebrating, okay? Because that's best case scenario. Let's just whoop these guys off the clock. Okay, well, only celebrate for a minute. We gotta get, after it's over and we're walking to our next shot, or after I just shanked and I'm upset and I'm just like, and we're walking to our shot, you only have that much time for it to be over and for it to be about the next thing. I can't imagine trying to go on a date with one guy and be thinking about another. That wouldn't be right. And I don't think any of you guys or girls that I went on a date with would want that, right? Neither would your husbands or wives. Stay true to one thought at a time, or you will have trouble. It's a dicey game trying to date more than one disc at once. Okay? How's that analogy for you? That's just serious though for me. Golf is life, life is golf, and if I could get through each one of my days outside of disc golf the way I planned, I'd be a perfect person. That's just like golf. I'd be shooting 18 under every round if it went the way I planned. But if it doesn't, you have to at least give your hardest effort into each individual action that you are doing. Period. That's all it is. Boy, I'll tell you. That's all I'm striving for every day. And if you don't, no one can have that every day, all day long. Paul Macbeth and Ricky Wysocki never have that all day, every day long. But they have a way quicker turnover rate after an error. And so can we. It's all in a mindset. That's in a belief right there. So, any questions?
I always throwing an upshot, things like that. It's always throwing pretty neutral, throwing straight at the best. More recently, I've been throwing like more of an MD3. Better to go straight at it or throw something that's a little out and come in?
Good question. Great question. And there's totally an answer to that. At first I was like, whoa, that's hard. How am I going to answer? But whoa, there's totally an answer. Always, in the right conditions, I want to throw straight at my target. I'm actually, I make more eye contact with the middle of the pole, never one single chain link if you're me. But I look at the pole from as far away as I can, as often as possible, and I go straight for it. Wind. When wind is being brought in, well, I need to be specific. In a headwind, I'm going to throw a stable hyzer, whether I'm a sidearm thrower or a backhand thrower, because I want to plan to land either, depending on your ground, land at it and skip in, or land at it, and if it's Velcro grass, be within like 8 or 10 feet of base. Either way. That's headwind. In tailwind, I actually would recommend throwing straight at it and remembering that tailwind will push you down. Maybe lengthen your line, throw it a little harder or faster. Okay. And then always, if there's OB or danger around, pick the hyzer shot that will skip you or bounce you or roll you safely or towards the basket. Boy, that means we're all pretty much perfect again. But literally, look around. If you got OB right, I'm saying throw over it in a headwind, and you'll have it skip to the left safe. If you have OB, I just said backwards of what I meant. I'm going to throw a sidearm over OB and watch it skip to the right if the OB is on the left, I guess, and vice versa. And if it's deep, I want to throw a putter or something slow, shorter. So the direct answer is always throw straight at your target. Fastest. It's what is it from point A to B? The quickest way there is a straight line, and that applies in disc golf, you guys. That's what mastering disc golf is. But then you have to play smart around it. So always pick that straight shot first if you can. Yeah, good question.
What's the best way to lay it up on a blacktop? Like bounce.
Oh my gosh. Well, if someone puts you on something like that, first of all, you have to be like, wow, this TD is into finicky golf. This isn't this isn't the kind of golf I should expect, but since I have to deal with it, what I would do is literally, so I save the edges of my discs, I would throw a champion or a smoother plastic disc upside down. And you guys, if you ever have to slide up to something, I would recommend learning how to throw a putter or a distance driver only, thick rim to no rim, upside down. It's really fun. In fact, at the Skill Shot Championships at Worlds this year, I scored the best at having to throw upside down with a putter. It even kind of hurt the tip of my thumb a little, but sliding is, if you have a really creepy surface, flip it upside down and kind of just wrist snap, use that thumb on the rim. Yeah, it's crazy, but that, if you ever had that, that's what I'd do. Man, that would be a punishing tournament. That TD better not do that. Oh, this is important too, you guys. This is huge. Tournament directors are not the same everywhere. In fact, none are, not one. And that means that an OB call could be different at every tournament you play. What does that mean? You better play a provisional. What is a provisional? If the card and you cannot decide on where you went out, where you should take your throw, if there's a drop zone or not, you play it the way you think it should be played, and you pull out that score, so maybe you get a 5 on the way you think. And then you got this person on your card trying to either get in your head or maybe not. Maybe they truly believe that wasn't the spot and it was way back there. Appease them. Waste no energy on an argument between, well, tit for tat. If you're literally only trying to figure out what's right and you don't agree with whatever is being said on your card, you play it both ways and you take it to the TD. Who knows how they're going to decide? But don't screw yourself. There's a matter of a couple strokes there probably. And remember, if you're getting pressure from your card, or you're not getting the call you truly think on anything, move on. Accept it and move on, because if karma's gonna, if you believe in karma or anything is gonna come back the right way, if the world is gonna work out ever, it's gonna come back in a different way on the course. There's always gonna be bad people out there, you guys, but we can't avoid them. There are people out there that are gonna cause crimes or do bad things. We can't keep our kids away from them. But what we can do is realize that it's gonna happen. Be the bigger person, take it and move on. That's a huge thing in the mental game. It's all over. It's in AM, it's in pro, it's in the younger divisions, and it's nastily in the older divisions. There's all kinds of people out there that want to work you, or that want to mess with you, or that want to say, nah, you're 3 feet back. Well, wow, that could wreck you. Or you could be like, all right, 3 feet, I got that. I'll make that line longer. No. You know, it's all in the way you perceive and take it, and then it's all in the way you regurgitate it. And it can be the matter of 5 to 10 strokes at the end of your round. I mean, even my close friend and I'm not going to name the player, down at the Memorial this year, and I'm like, man, we've been traveling for years. What are you doing to me right now? I didn't go out right there. I went out right there. And I couldn't get it together for at least 6 or 7 holes. Finally got a birdie on 17, parred out on 18, but that happened on hole 11. The story here is I couldn't get rid of, I couldn't stop holding on to what I didn't think was right. Well, where'd the golf go? Like, what about golfing? You know? Remember to keep your skill and your task at hand in front of you. You can't control other people, you can only control yourself, so do the best at being the bigger person, because it'll save your scorecard, actually. Not just because I'm trying to make you all great people. That's nice, too. In fact, that's the better part. But your scorecard's going to look better if you're the bigger person. That's so true. Even, no, I'm not going to say that. Anyone would agree with that. Anything you could think of on Upshots, Dustin, that I could talk about? Or
Show them a couple.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I guess I just talked about it forever. So, this is actually fun because at 50 feet, I would never stand still and throw unless there were things in my way and I had to, like, you know, straddle out like that. I would putt at it. And so, because I'm now doing a jump putt, I get to share with you what my jump putt is, and we're not even at the putting station. And I'm really proud of it. I just built this jump putt over the last 1.5 years, 2 years. And I feel like I could never straddle putt with any power before. But now it's my most powerful putt. My regular inside of the circle putt is a track stance. and it's a little more of a push putt or a scoop putt. And then at 50 feet, I'm getting in my really athletic straddle, which, let me get so everyone can see me. At about 40 feet, I probably look a little bit wider, maybe even sometimes like this. And my line goes from this short to this long, okay? When I'm pretty far away, I'm narrower because, from a side view, I can reach back further and spring out and let the disc out farther. So if I'm right here 50 feet, trying to make the basket, and say, double right, but it almost went in. Okay. Now, if I was where Dustin is, why don't I just do that actually? Just being a little extra so I don't hurt anybody. Now, I still am jump putting, but this is getting closer to my like testier distance. So, I literally have this whole thing where I've got like how wide I am to distance. Way longer line. A lot of air there. Did anybody notice a difference in maybe how short or longer my line was? And we only went from there to there, so that's, I guess, 15 to 20 feet. But my line was longer even though my body was missing. Now I'm going to grab, well, those are really stable. This is a spider. Those are all AVRs that are meant to go straight. This is going to be a little stable and I'm going to try to manipulate it. Going to the orange from here, I will never jump up. And so at this point, I guess we're just gonna pretend that should I throw a hyzer because I'm throwing this? Yeah. No, I'm gonna pretend like this is an AVR. And I feel like it's not that far away. Notice I'm finding I'm pushing off of the back of my leg because that's where my speed and velocity comes from is weight transfer. And I think I can continue to look at this one. Because I was afraid it would be too stable. Still there, I think I can putt that one. I'm happy with it, I'll make it. Now I want to take, anything else slow? This is a gator, so I'm assuming to be more SE. But I'm going to go to the same place. And I'm probably still going to keep my head on the target because I think I'm at about 140, 150 away. But I need a longer line. And when I need a longer line and I'm standing still for backhand, I actually have a wider base, which is different than my jump putt, right? It's kind of funny. I have more pushing room. Oh, it's in! It was a little short. But there was a longer line as the eyeballs were still on there. If you guys saw that. Now, if I was at Johnny's house, I would actually look away. I'm gonna go grab those. And I'll throw a couple sidearms in between. They never called 20 minutes.
Before you do that normally at all, would you take steps before you would pump?
Never do I run up, ever, unless I'm full. Okay, distance drives, fairway drives. So I still am going over 250 probably. And then I'll step up a little either hop step or a little small edge step slowly. Sorry, I turned my back. I'll do a small X step slowly versus like with full like power speed. If I'm throwing like that spider, that clear one that I first threw, to the orange, sometimes there might be trees in front of it or a height I have to get over. So when you're throwing a hyzer at 100 feet and you have to get over something, you actually are throwing way further than 100 feet. Probably throwing about a 160 foot shot. You gotta go so far up and down. And that's when I'll like run up and step up. But now, think about the science of that. That was a great question. I'm not 100 feet away really when I'm throwing that line. So think about what your line looks like. You can go back to that 8.8 of B talk. really, really give yourself a good option of disc choice and run-up speed and line length. Because if it's looking like more than a 100-foot or a 50-foot shot from your standing, you got to put a little more in, or length, or speed. Yeah. That was a great question. I get nervous sometimes, and then I'm like, oh yeah, well that's exactly what I was doing. Yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah, I had to go get that. Okay, so main putter here. Let's go back here. Oh, there's even a tee pad. And you're all safe. You're all in a great spot. This is a little slick though, so I'm gonna use my PDGA rule and tee off behind it. And I'd say that the orange is
About 200.
it's got to be over. It's right at close to 200. I want this to be a good upshot. I'm gonna look away from this one. I need more power. No Heiza. Gonna be a big comebacker. But I bet if we stood at that putter, it's gotta be close to pin high. I was operator error. I released it a little too late. And again, at that distance, because I'm a hyzer thrower, I would like to throw my spider up over in the hyzer shape. But I'm not disappointed with that shot because, I can still putt that and I believe in it. I'm not going to be like upset that that was the demo I just gave you, because I think everything I just talked about is almost good that I did that shot. You might notice though still that the length was accurate, and that's the most important. That's where the practice is coming from. That's the only disc I have out, right? Okay. I don't know, what else? Do we have anybody playing this weekend in the event? No? Do we have people spectating? You guys gonna come and watch? Awesome. So now I have a challenge for you. It is always a great idea to watch men's open. It's always a great idea, especially if you get a chance to see your favorite player. But if I can challenge you guys to watch women's top card and dually watch women's second card or third card, pick another one besides top card, because there's something that happens there in a big tournament like this when national tour money and titles and this kind of point series is on the line. Watch that top card. Man, there's an experience of the energy that's going on. You can hear a spider walking up a tree, man. It's like really intense, a lot of the times quiet and thick, sharp energy. But then I want you to watch their body language and how they're dealing with it. Okay, that'll be a good project. And then when you're watching that second card or that second chase card, watch those top players on those cards, because maybe they didn't score to be on top card like they have been, or they have the makings to be. But watch the comfort and the poise and the control of their aura too. It'll be a really interesting science project. Somebody might come up and win from second card simply because of the energy and like the card aura, if you will. Every group of 4 or 3 people playing golf together is going to have an energy. And then you look for the people that kind of stay separate, and look for the people that are engaging, and look for the people that are maybe talking nervously, and look for the ones that are scoring better and how they're dealing with all those situations. That would be my homework task on mental game, since that's my station. It's really interesting. In the men's division, you've got like 15 cards to choose from there because there's so many more. But some, I've seen Ricky's been on 10th card and the next day on first card. Those are neat rounds to watch what's going on. Ricky's a fun example too. He's very focused. So that's for the tournament this weekend. And again, the reason I'm not playing literally only is because I need to heal this quad. I also smacked a tree at Ledgestone, but everything is like in full range of motion. I was a little worried about that, but I'm taking care of my body this weekend. Except for I'm really, really proud and really, really happy to represent my sponsors. And when I do bad or bad, when I don't score when I want to score, I used to be embarrassed and I used to be scared or nervous or like, embarrassed would be the best word, because I have people supporting me, paying me, or trying to help me get to the next event that I didn't just play good for. And those are all really negative pressures that I try to kick to the curb, and I pretend that that's last year's Zoe, the way that thinking is. And I know that Innova Champion Discs actually always has my back, even if I didn't cash at Worlds. I know that Paragon is still going to print my clothes. I know that my mom and dad are going to love me at the end of the night, and that my friends and my fans are still there. So if you ever let negative thoughts of, I get embarrassed about things really easily, but maybe anger or maybe sadness, or you replace the emotion with it's anything but positive or content. If you let anything come and suck your energy out, I think it's just really important to remember at the end of the day, as long as you're still able to eat, sleep, and it's all gonna work out in any scenario. It's really gonna work out better if we can accept it sooner. Now I'm just going into positive flow again. I do a lot of speaking on this stuff, so I guess they're never gonna say switch.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I'm really new to disc golf.
Okay.
Like, this is my first year into it, and I was a baseball player, and I'm left-handed on everything that I ever do. But because I was an outfielder, the X-Dap is like a throw line for baseball, so backhand just feels naturally with my right hand. So I throw all long distance backhand, right hand, and then as I get closer to the putting range, I switch to left-handed because it feels comfortable. And I don't know if that's okay. And then kind of the second question off that is whenever I do sidearm, I can swing it left-handed because I was doing strength and all that. So I don't know if that's okay to do either because I'm getting the same kind of curve.
Well, okay. The okay or not, the answer is yes. It's all okay, as long as you're doing it without any injury or force or hurt.
Yep.
But now, like, the coaching technique answer to that is driving all right-handed, and then only having short-range shots left-handed is just fine.
Yep.
You're gonna hit a wall though of your mid-range game.
Yep.
Because you're gonna be confused a lot as to like disking down and ripping on it, or like throwing a driver.
Yep.
And I can't personally say that I would trust that like 150 to 250 distance. So I would, because you already are driving with your right hand, I would start practicing only upshots with your right hand. And if you are seriously dominant just inside of the circle left-hand putting, I wouldn't change that ever.
Okay.
Ever.
Yeah, because
Get that middle distance trained on both.
Yeah. That was kind of the hard part. Is I'm like, okay, where is my switching point from left-handed to right-handed?
Yep.
And
only that you guys, the one skill that's like I am the king or the queen bee is your inside of circle putts. Even though driving is my favorite skill, it's never going to mean anything unless I'm closing the deal at the end of the day, and knowing that you're becoming a better driver and you're getting closer to the pin all the time means that you have to close the deal. So putting inside of 33 feet, really, you really shouldn't be doing much different or changing it ever once you find your comfort zone with pretty good technique. And if you're questioning your technique, that's when you find me, or you find a pro, or you find someone to work with you, or you film yourself and you watch it, and then you compare yourself if you don't have the access to the pros. But I remember when Dustin and I first started training together, I remember one of the first things he ever told me about my putt was, it's so perfect. I said, why? You do the same thing every time. So I guarantee you're doing the same thing with your left hand every time. But when you're at that funny mid-range distance, there's too much room for error. I'd go everything outside of your putting circle, one dominant hand.
Okay.
And I think that goes for anybody and everybody. And the ambidextrous players are killing it.
Not to cut in or cut any of your time short, it's almost 8.
Okay.
We had a players meeting at 8:30, so make sure that they're able to get
I
there
was
on
just
time.
thanking these guys for listening to me the whole time.
Absolutely.
We
And
got
thank
a
all you
lot of
guys for
stuff
coming.
covered.
Appreciate seeing that.
Can everybody come in just a little bit closer? Or, you know, within. I just really, really want to thank you for coming and listening to me. I could build your backhands or build your sidearms or your putts anytime you want to talk about it. Even if you want to talk about it online. We'll do that. But I think that what you got from me today And what I got to give you today was almost giving to my own game more than I could have all season. I needed to give you this clinic as much as I needed to hear it. And I guarantee my scores, as soon as, I'm going to wait till probably Tuesday before I'm like training hard again, but I guarantee you're going to see my scores probably be a lot lower and my places and finishes be a lot higher. Because I just hit a little bit of a mental burnout in my season, only because of the grind. I'm 100% happy playing disc golf and touring, but I think that the mental game and what we talked about making good decisions and getting over them quickly, not letting outside energies or bad breaks affect you, those are all things that's like, now you're gonna be perfect, now you're gonna be perfect, now you're gonna be perfect, but guess what, like, no one's perfect, but if we strive to be, we're gonna do better. So just thanks for helping make me better and listening is what I'm trying to say. I want a high five from everybody. I'm going around. I'm doing this. I'm going to grab my putter from you. Thanks for holding your putters too. You're probably like, why'd you have us do that? Well, it's just you got to touch your disc and be a part of it, you know, like keeping it live and direct here. And I promise, if you guys are ever cheering for me, I'll probably play even better. The more energy I got coming in that's good, I know I will play higher. Thank you.
Thank you.